Hey, Shalom, Akim Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Hakurah. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us his truth, and sincere Shalom to the hopeful elect out there listening, learning, and or teaching. Shalom to you all. All right, so I just came across this headline, and it kind of shocked me a little bit because I heard about this type of thing happening before. All right, the title says, experts issue serious health warning after baby girl grows micro penis from lying on dad's bare chest. So I have heard about this shit with those female bodybuilders. So if you got a female bodybuilder, they lifting weights and shit. A lot of them like to take steroids, you know, and eventually, like if they take that shit long enough, they can grow a micro penis. All right, which is fucking crazy, you know. But it just goes to show, like, you know, the type of things this kingdom promotes. All right, for you to be messing with your biology, you know, putting a sharp object in your body to insert chemicals into your bloodstream. Okay, this is you know, it all goes together with that. Pharmaceutical industrial complex, I'm gonna just say it like that, you know, where they, you know, you go to a doctor with a degree, right, and he's supposed to ask you these questions that's framed in a way that if you give the right answers, he can now have authority to prescribe these pills to you, which otherwise the general public would have no access to. Things like testosterone, all right, because you got people who get testosterone replacement therapy. You know, they say, oh, I got low testosterone, doc. Okay, let me ask you some questions. Do you have a hard time getting it up in the bedroom? Yeah, doc. Okay, so take this testosterone supplement. You know what I'm saying? And it, and not knowing that, or not caring that that's gonna fuck you up, man. Whether you're a man or a woman, because as a man, if you take steroids, right, you'll lose your hair. You might grow breasts, because what happens is when your body increases testosterone unnaturally, what the body does is it increases estrogen to that same degree in order to balance it out. Not, you know, and then that's what happens, man. You'll grow breasts like a woman because your body is out of balance and it's trying to fight back against whatever bullshit you're putting in the body, okay? And that's the way that Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, solves these problems. Okay, most of these problems are due to the toxic food that we're eating. You know, all these industrial foods. All right, these are manufactured foods. These are not natural foods, man. All right, they grow these different fruits and vegetables that they cannot grow on their own. They need they need some type of a chemical syrup inserted into them. I'm gonna say it like that. Because the seeds, they don't give seeds anymore, right? These are GMO, genetically modified organisms, you know, and then the animals have to eat these GMOs, and you are what you eat. So if an animal eats that shit, now the animal is GMO. Now the animal's all fucked up, and you're eating that animal, all right? Not to mention all these different chemicals that we're surrounded by. Chemicals in the paint, chemicals in the food, the water, the air, chemicals on electronics, chemicals on your dishes, right? If you use plastic Tupperware. And I could go on and on and on, man, but this is the world that Esau created. And in order to solve problems, he develops these quote unquote pills or treatments. And these treatments have all these other issues, man. When if we had followed the holy law of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, all right, we would have none of these problems, none of them. You know, you wouldn't have low testosterone men. You wouldn't have masculine women running around. They can't give birth. And you damn sure wouldn't have children growing micro penises, man. Or Salakia, you wouldn't have female children or girls growing a micro penis, man. Let's get into this real quick. It says, after a baby girl grew a micro penis, experts issued a stark warning to every parent. A little girl grew an additional member after cuddling with her dad as a newborn. leading to a bizarre revelation. The odd case occurred in Sweden where half a dozen similar cases have happened. Okay, so half a dozen cases. And what was the culprit? As per professional Giovanna Dahlgren, a pediatric endocrinology expert who works at the Sahlgrenska University Hospital in Gothenburg, she's seen parents become completely desperate when they've realized what has actually happened. Now she's urging all parents who are using one thing to be cautious when exposing their children to the potent substance. The baby girl who had laid on her father's bare chest numerous times so that she could bond via skin-to-skin contact with her dad began showing signs of genital changes shortly afterwards. The tot grew a micro penis. All right, let's keep it going. By 10 months old, she had a fully formed micro penis, with her clitoris having grown larger to resemble a penis and her labia fusing together to become a scrotum. However, the little girl's father had been using a testosterone gel product. There it is. You see? You see these different chemicals and bullshits. You think it's just gonna solve your problem like magic, not realizing that Esau Edom is an unprofitable ruler, man. And he is not God. He is not Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Right? He does not have the keys to creation. He does not have the blueprint that Yahweh gave Yahushai and the angels to create this universe, man. Esau is simply just throwing shit at the wall until it sticks, and if it sticks, it sells. You see? Testosterone gel product. Okay? And we've talked about this before in other videos where, this generation has the lowest testosterone out of all men, and the previous generation had higher testosterone than this generation, and the one before that had more testosterone than the so on and so forth. Okay, to the point where a man, you can look this up, I believe it was an 80-year-old man who was born in the early 1900s, okay, I forgot when I read this article. I can't really remember, but the point stands, right? It's saying like an 80-year-old man has the same testosterone as a 20-year-old man today, right? Talking about an 80-year-old man who was born in the early 1900s, comparing his testosterone to a 20-year-old man born in this generation. The 80-year-old man had the same testosterone. All right, showing you that our men are being effeminized systematically. All right, this is how Esau works, because Esau is unprofitable, man. All right, they put all these chemics and poisons in the food, in the water, and in your products, man. And then you got stupid people like this that will actually take this product, rub it all over their chest, and then get their newborn daughter butt naked to lay on top of that testosterone gel, thinking that's not going to do anything to her. You know, how stupid you got to be. That's testosterone, right? That's just going to help you be a man because you can't get it up to get with your wife to create a second child. So you put it over your chest and forget the fact that that's a masculine agent. And then you put your daughter, who's supposed to be feminine, on top of that agent. And now she grows a penis and you're surprised. You see? This shit is madness, bro. We need to get the fuck out of here, bro. Straight up. You know? It says, which provides him with the male hormone via an artificial form. Right, artificial. That's all Esau knows how to do. Esau doesn't know how to create natural testosterone in the body. You know, because Esau himself is effeminate. And everything he does is artificial. You got artificial intelligence. You got artificial this, artificial that. Everything's artificial. They're talking about an artificial sun in China or whatever. All right, which, that's not the Edomites. But if they do that, it's at the order of the elite Edomites anyway. And that sounds like something Esau would do. So, but yeah, let's keep going. It says something that is usually prescribed to those who do not make enough testosterone or have low energy and low sex drive. As per the Mayo Clinic, after applying a gel, men should allow the skin to air dry, then cover with clothing to prevent others from coming in contact with the medication on your skin. According to the Mayo Clinic, Testosterone in women can help to boost energy, sex drive, and more, but it is unsure of the long-term effects and risks of being exposed to additional testosterone that women already produce. Yeah, it's called you grow a penis. That's what it's called. You don't need a long-term study to see that that's what happened. You see? But the father unknowingly laid his baby on his bare chest without realizing that he was actually exposing her to the hormone. Yeah, because he's a dumbass. How you not going to know that? You just rub it all over your chest, and then somebody is laying on your chest. You don't think it's going to affect them? Thus, she grew something similar to a micropenis. However, Swedish medics have stated that this term is incorrect, as a micropenis is something that describes male genitalia, not female genitalia, that has been exposed to testosterone. It was because she was exposed to testosterone. All right. That's all we need on that. But yeah, just showing you the type of people that are in charge of this world, are the people creating these products. You see, instead of focusing on fixing the problem, it's always some artificial solution that causes more problems. All right? And this is why, you can see the scriptures, man, is a book of truth, man, because it goes against the grain. It goes against this whole system, man. Right? And the scriptures tell us of Salakia. Give me 1 second. The scriptures tell us of these things, man. All right, let's go back. Joel, Isaiah 47, and let's go ahead and start reading from we could read from 4. It says, as for our Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, right? That's going into Esau, Edom. For thou shalt no more be called the lady of kingdoms. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand, and thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily thy yoke. Right, it's going into the slavery that Esau, Edom put our people through. You could look at the transatlantic slave trade. You could look at the Spanish conquest, the robbing of this land from the Native American Indians, and how they're in reservations to this day. So-called African Americans are in the ghettos, right alongside so-called Latinos, getting thrown in concentration camps, another form of captivity. All right, they attacking all the tribes now. So this has never stopped. Esau is continually laying a very heavy yoke on our people, robbing our people left and right with these bullshit jobs. And you can't even get these jobs. You got to try to get these jobs. And when you finally get in, you really go hard. You get in there and you're still at the bottom because you're the first one hired. Salakia, the last one's hired and the first one's fired because we're the Israelites, man. This is the punishment Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is giving us, right, through Esau, right? But Esau did take it too far. And, as you can see, Esau has us doing all the hard work to build his kingdom up, all right? But the decisions that he makes, as you can see, is unprofitable even to himself, man. Like his own daughters are growing micro penises because he's so stupid. He's so unwise, all right? When it comes to the law of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, I mean, Esau is wise to do evil. Esau is wise to create these different technologies and things that profit monetarily. But in the long run, they fuck creation up. All right? It says, verse 7, and thou saidst, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. Right? Esau thinks his house is going to continue forever, that he's just going to keep ruling the earth in wickedness like this, perpetually. But he didn't think about the latter end of it. Right? It says, therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me, right? Because Esau's got a God complex. He thinks he is God, So instead of, doing things the Lord's way, as written in the law. Esau wants to break all the laws, and then the problems that arise from that, he likes to solve them through artificial means. As you can see with this article, testosterone gel. You know, the scriptures say, look, let's stop where we're at here on verse 8. And let's go to Leviticus 19 and 19 real quick. This is the law. It says, ye shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind. Right? You're not supposed to be mingling DNA from a mouse and put it in a cow. Or DNA from this animal and put it in that. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to have your cattle gender with a diverse kind. All right? It says, thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed. All right? So, yeah, you're not supposed to be doing that with the plants either. All right? And they do that with the plants through this GMO technology. They get DNA from different plants and they insert them into other plants to give these plants a Frankenstein build so that, you know, like, for example, with corn, I believe they add something to the DNA that makes it so that the corn produces its own pesticide to kill insects. All right? But then you have to eat that corn. And what is it doing in your body? Right? If it didn't create a micro penis on your forehead, that doesn't mean that it ain't doing something fucked up. You see, Esau thinks if he gives you a chemical and you take it and it doesn't kill you right away, that it's perfectly safe. But what is it doing in the long term, man? You can see that effect with the testosterone in young men now is plummeted. And they act like, well, there's no evidence. Yeah, it's not right in your face, but if you look at it and you understand all these different things that Esau's doing, you know, this GMO corn might lower it by 5%. You know? And then you go and put on this fabric, clothes that has mixed fabrics, that lowers it another 5%. Right? Then you get with a masculine woman that makes you end up paying child support. Now you feel emasculated. Now that went down 5%. Right? Then you eating meat that was, they inserted DNA into, they put hormones. That's another thing. They put steroids and hormones into these animals. Then you eat that. Now it throws your body out of whack. Now it goes down another 5%. You see, it's a holistic problem. All right? But it all stems back to the law, man. The law was only given to the Israelites, Yasharallah, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians. So, you know, the way this earth is supposed to be ran is us being at the top leaders and rulers of this earth, enforcing this law worldwide. But what do we have now? We're in slavery, and the wicked, Esau, Edom, is in charge. And he doesn't believe in the law or push it. Or he'll swear by the Bible. He'll swear by the Lord falsely, but he won't enforce anything in the Bible. See? It says, neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come upon thee. See? Mixed fabrics. Right? You're not supposed to mix fabrics. You're not supposed to mix animals' DNA. You're not supposed to mix plant DNA. You see? You wicked fools. But they'll never learn, man, because it's not for them. All right? The only solution is their annihilation and the setting up of the Israelites into power underneath Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So verse 8, this is Isaiah, back in Isaiah 47 of verse 8. Therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. Because America's had a powerful military for a while, and they feel like they're unstoppable, man. But the prophecies tell us that ultimately this place is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear destruction. And it's going to start with these other nations puffing up at America, man. As you can see now, you got the wars and rumors of wars. China, North Korea, Russia, all these different countries over there in the East are telling America they're ready to destroy America, man. They're ready to fight. You know, like, we're not scared. That's what they're saying, right? So you can see these signs, man, of what the scripture says they're getting ready to pass, man. All right, this is verse 9. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and the great abundance of thine enchantments. right? Sorceries, enchantments, okay? All these different witchcraft, okay? And these different pills, some of them can serve as an enchantment because you won't be in your right mind, man. A lot of people are strung out on these, on 10, 20 different prescription pills. They're worse than drug addicts on the street, man. But because a doctor signed a piece of paper, oh, it's legit, right? It's legit until you die or you lose your mind from all these different pills, man. All right. Verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, right? That's Esau, man. Oh, you have low testosterone? Go to the doctor and get this gel and rub it on your chest. Yeah, it's perfectly natural and safe. You see? All right. What does the scripture say about when you get sick? This is Sirach, chapter 38 and verse 4. The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. Right, so medicines out of the earth is going into the different herbs, right? Natural foods, natural things that rebuild your body and your chemistry, all right? That's what you want, man. You don't want something that Esau concocted in a fucking lab, and he don't even know what to do. And then when you get it, you take it, it messes you up. You know it's messing you up, but then you tell him, and he's like, well, there's no proof that this does this or that. But the proof is in the pudding, man. I took it, and I feel like shit. Like, Esau needs a whole fucking giant study to prove anything, you know. And then they fund these different people to lie for him. I mean, that ain't hard, man. How do you think they push all these medicines that don't fucking work, bro? They don't work. They work for the purpose. The purpose is to numb the pain so you can live a little bit easier for a little bit longer. And you die anyway, man. All right, the Lord has created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them, right? Because we don't have a wise leader, man. Esau is a damn devil, man. All right, let's go back here. Isaiah 47 and verse 10. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Right, these international banking families, they got these different they got these different packs that they made. You can find it online. They're talking about, oh, we poison the food, water, the air. And then when they get sick, they come to us and we give them more poison. Y'all could look into that. Okay, and they think nobody's going to hear it, nobody's going to see it. But the scriptures say everything that's hidden is going to be brought forth to the light, man. So here we are, 2025, and damn near everybody knows that there's something going on with these elites, man. They're the ones controlling everything, pulling the strings. A lot of people know this, all right? Maybe not most people, but a lot of people do, all right? But it says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me, thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. Right? He's got all this wisdom and knowledge to make all these chemicals, make all these different machines. He can fly in the air. He can drive a car. So it perverted him. He thinks, oh, this is the way. It's through technology. It's through money, through power. And it's not about the law of the Lord. It's not about the Lord. I am the Lord. He thinks he's the Lord, right? It says, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Again, that God complex. So Esau thinks that his way of life is the way to go. But as we can see, it doesn't work. It's unprofitable. This is Revelation 11, verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come. And the time of the dead that thou should be judged, Salakia, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them, which destroy the earth. That's Esau Edom, the so-called white man, all right? And his day is almost here, okay? He continues to oppress specifically our people, and then rules the earth in this retarded way, to the point where he even has his own people fucked up, but his own people are too stupid to see that they're the problem, man. They're too stupid and too proud. And it don't matter what they think, ultimately, because at the end of the day, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is going to give us this kingdom by force. All right, we don't need you other heathens to agree with us at all. Keep disagreeing with us, man. All right, you're gonna be under our feet soon when Yahweh Shai returns, at where you belong. Okay, because you don't take care of this creation. You people think the creation is here for you. You Edomites and other nations. Nah, the creation was made for ours. The world was made for our sakes, right? The scripture says the world was made for our sakes. That's in the Apocrypha. This is 2nd Ezra 6:59. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? Okay, right, because it was created for our sakes, which it says it earlier in the chapter. Here. 2nd Ezra 6:55. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. Right? When Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, created the heavens and the earth and everything in them, all right, he put the Israelite man in charge. The Israelite man and woman to rule the earth. Not Esau, not the other nations, man. All right? And that's who Adam was. Adam was an Israelite. Now, before we were called Israelites. Okay? But then you had that serpent in the garden, which that was Esau back then, man. All right? That's the dark saying of Genesis. But as you can see, it's the same thing all the way till now. But the Lord is going to put us back in that position of power as gods of the earth, man. We're going to go back to our old ways as far as being godlike, but we're going to go back to that with the knowledge of good and evil so we can be perfect judges, right? We're going to have the knowledge of good and evil, that experience, but we're going to be made perfect. That's the second covenant, where the law is going to be written in our inward parts. Okay, and you other nations, you don't have it, bro. The Lord put y'all in charge, every one of you nations in charge for a season. And you can never do it like the Israelites, man. You can never do it like us. You can never have this earth be so perfect and flourishing so amazingly because you people don't have the blueprint. Imagine I give you an assignment, but I don't tell you how to do it. Chances are you're going to fuck up, right? But imagine I give someone else an assignment and I give them step-by-step instructions. That's what this law is, this book. And it was only given to us, the Israelites, and we're the only ones that can understand it. That's why we go into these breakdowns. You know, we could break down line upon line, precept upon precept, connecting precept to other precepts that people didn't even know were precepts, man. And that's not to boast for myself. That's to show you the power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. You heathens can't open up this book and explain it. This is Sirach 10:4. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord. Right? So the Lord controls even these Edomites. Okay, but we know this is part of the Lord's movie. And the movie says, right, these different prophecies tell us he's going to get taken down. And the Lord's going to set us up as the rulers of the earth. Right? And that's what it's going to go into now in the second part. And in due time, he will set over it one that is profitable. Right? Because Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is unprofitable, man. It says of business. The word profitable means of business or activity yielding profit or financial gain. The second definition means beneficial, useful. Right? Esau is not useful for the earth. Esau is a burden on the earth. You know, we're supposed to dress the earth and care for it and let it flourish and multiply. Right? But what does Esau do? Everywhere he goes, he turns it into a fucking wilderness, man. You got an island the size of Texas made of plastic waste floating in the middle of the fucking ocean, man. And it's growing by the day. Toxic sludge, all this shit from these different industries getting pumped into the ocean. All these different trash, chemicals from these different corporate factories. And why do those exist? Just to funnel money out of the people. Because these things don't profit the people either. Right? How are you profiting working nonstop and you can't even pay rent? Why are you renting? You should own a house. You see, it's this whole fucking, you know, it's a machine and you're just a cog in it, man. And that's unprofitable, man. Now, of course, there's order in the kingdom of heaven. We're going to have rulers. We're going to have the elect at the top, the rest of the men on down. And then, of course, the heathen are going to be under all of us Israelites. There's going to be order. There's going to be orders given. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? But, you know, in the kingdom of heaven, we're not going to be a burden on the world. Right? No, we're going to be the light of the world. Everybody's going to want to learn from us because the way we do things is so perfect and everything is just perfect that way. There's no downfall. There's no waste product from our rulership, for lack of a better word. There's no side effects. All right? Yahushai is the answer, and there's no side effects, man. Okay? So, yeah, man, we got to get the fuck out of this place, man. Could you imagine another few generations in this place, man? Everybody's going to have micro penises growing out of their body. Men and women, it's going to be terrible, man. You know, they're going to start saying, oh, well, remember this dude, Kill Gates, was talking about, oh, well, not enough people took the jump shot, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in the food. That way people don't even have to worry. They'll just eat it without knowing about it. You know, that guy, and I'm not saying he said it like that, but, you know, that's the spirit he comes in. He's a devil, okay? I don't remember his exact words, but he said he wanted to put that shit in the food, man. As you can see, man, if this place continued any fucking longer, man, all right, we would all die, man. Like the scripture says, no flesh would be saved. If those, let's get that. Matthew 24 and 22. And except those days, Salakia, let's wait for it to load. Matthew 24 and 22, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Right, which I made a video on that the other day. The earth is speeding up. The earth's spin is going faster. The days are shorter. Okay, and that does have an effect on these days. These days are noticeably shorter. So it's not it's not gonna last much longer, man, because the Lord has set a limit for Esau. He cannot pass. All right. But with that, I pray this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect. I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwarash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone and taught us this truth. Sincere shalom to the hopeful elect out there listening, learning, and or teaching. Shalom wa abad babal. Shalom.